Mars is no place for the faint-hearted. It's dry, rocky, and bitter cold. The fourth planet from the Sun, Mars is one of Earth's two closest planetary neighbors. Mars is one of the easiest planets to spot in the night sky. It looks like a bright red point of light. Despite being inhospitable to humans, robotic explorers like NASA's new Perseverance rover are serving as pathfinders to eventually get humans to the surface of the red planet. Mars was named by the ancient Romans for their god of war because its reddish color was reminiscent of blood. Other civilizations also named the planet for this attribute. For example, the Egyptians called it Herdesher, meaning the red one. Even today, it is frequently called the red planet because iron minerals in the Martian dirt oxidize or rust, causing the surface to look red. Potential for life. Scientists don't expect to find living things currently thriving on Mars. Instead, they're looking for signs of life that existed long ago, when Mars was warmer and covered with water. Size and distance. With a radius of 2,106 miles, Mars is about half the size of Earth. From an average distance of 142 million miles, Mars is 1.5 astronomical units away from the Sun. 1 astronomical unit is the distance from the Sun to Earth. From this distance, it takes sunlight 13 minutes to travel from the Sun to Mars. Orbit and rotation. As Mars orbits the Sun, it completes one rotation every 24.6 hours, which is very similar to 1 day on Earth. Martian days are called sols, short for solar day. A year on Mars lasts 669.6 sols, which is the same as 687 Earth days. Mars' axis of rotation is tilted 25 degrees with respect to the plane of its orbit around the Sun. This is another similarity with Earth, which has an axial tilt of 23.4 degrees. Like Earth, Mars has distinct seasons, but they last longer than seasons here on Earth since Mars takes longer to orbit the Sun. And while here on Earth the seasons are evenly spread over the year, lasting 3 months, on Mars the seasons vary in length because of Mars' elliptical, egg-shaped orbit around the Sun. Spring in the Northern Hemisphere is the longest season at 194 sols. Autumn in the Northern Hemisphere is the shortest at 142 days. Northern winter-southern summer is 154 sols, and northern summer-southern winter is 178 sols. Moons. Mars has 2 small moons, Phobos and Deimos, that may be captured asteroids. They're potato-shaped because they have too little mass for gravity to make them spherical. The moons get their names from the horses that pulled the chariot of the Greek god of war, Ares. Phobos, the innermost and larger moon, is heavily cratered, with deep grooves on its surface. It is slowly moving towards Mars and will crash into the planet or break apart in about 50 million years. Deimos is about half as big as Phobos and orbits 2.5 times farther away from Mars. Oddly shaped Deimos is covered in loose dirt that often fills the craters on its surface, making it appear smoother than pockmarked Phobos. Structure. Mars has a dense core at its center between 930 and 1,300 miles in radius. It's made of iron, nickel, and sulfur. Surrounding the core is a rocky mantle between 770 and 1,170 miles thick, and above that, a crust made of iron, magnesium, aluminum, calcium, and potassium. This crust is between 6 and 30 miles deep. Surface. The red planet is actually many colors. At the surface, we see colors such as brown, gold, and tan. The reason Mars looks reddish is due to oxidation or rusting of iron in the rocks, regolith, and dust of Mars. This dust gets kicked up into the atmosphere and from a distance makes the planet appear mostly red. Interestingly, while Mars is about half the diameter of Earth, its surface has nearly the same area as Earth's dry land. Its volcanoes, impact craters, crustal movement, and atmospheric conditions such as dust storms have altered the landscape of Mars over many years, creating some of the solar system's most interesting topographical features. A large canyon system called Valles Marineris is long enough to stretch from California to New York more than 3,000 miles. This Martian canyon is 200 miles at its widest and 4.3 miles at its deepest. That's about 10 times the size of Earth's Grand Canyon. Mars is home to the largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons. It's 3 times taller than Earth's Mt. Everest with a base the size of the state of New Mexico. Mojave is a 58 kilometers diameter impact crater in the Oxyopoulos quadrangle of Mars. It has alluvial fans that look remarkably similar to landforms in the Mojave Desert in the American Southwest. Fans inside and around the outsides of the crater are closely similar to Earth's alluvial fans. Sand dunes on Mars take many shapes and forms. They can develop in all sorts of areas, including valleys and crater floors. Large dunes on the floor of the 300-kilometer-wide Herschel Impact Basin. Grooves along the dunes, apparently carved by wind, suggest that the dunes have become hardened and stationary. Mount Sharp, officially Aeolis Mons, is a mountain on Mars. It forms the central peak within Gale Crater, rising 5.5 kilometers high from the valley floor. Hellas is roughly circular impact basin Hellas located in the southern hemisphere of the planet Mars. Hellas is the 3rd or 4th largest known impact crater in the solar system. The basin floor is about 7,152 m deep. Mars appears to have had a watery past, with ancient river valley networks, deltas, and lakebeds, as well as rocks and minerals on the surface that could only have formed in liquid water. Some features suggest that Mars experienced huge floods about 3.5 billion years ago. There is water on Mars today, but the Martian atmosphere is too thin for liquid water to exist for long on the surface. Today, water on Mars is found in the form of water ice just under the surface in the polar regions as well as in briny water, which seasonally flows down some hillsides and crater walls. Atmosphere. Mars has a thin atmosphere made up mostly of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon gases. To our eyes, the sky would be hazy and red because of suspended dust instead of the familiar blue tint we see on Earth. Mars' sparse atmosphere doesn't offer much protection from impacts by such objects as meteorites, asteroids, and comets. The temperature on Mars can be as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit or as low as about -225 degrees Fahrenheit. And because the atmosphere is so thin, heat from the sun easily escapes this planet. If you were to stand on the surface of Mars on the equator at noon, it would feel like spring at your feet and winter at your head. Occasionally, winds on Mars are strong enough to create dust storms that cover much of the planet. After such storms, it can be months before all of the dust settles. Magnetosphere. Mars has no global magnetic field today, but areas of the Martian crust in the southern hemisphere are highly magnetized, indicating traces of a magnetic field from 4 billion years ago. We hope you enjoy the content we have to offer. If you like what you see, please consider hitting the like button to let us know. It really helps us out and motivates us to keep creating more videos. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on our latest uploads, and you'll be the first to know when we release new content. And last but not least, if you find our videos helpful or entertaining, please consider sharing them with your friends and family. It's a great way to support our channel and help us reach more people. Thank you so much for watching, and we can't wait to see you in our next video.